All right, here we go. So, thank you, Jason. So, I want to give a little bit of backdrop on why we're doing this call. So, one thing you'll learn about me is if you ever want something to be done, then just suggest it to me. Because if you suggest something to me, then I'm going to assign you and delegate the task of making it happen. So, one person on our team that I fully trust, but she does make a lot of suggestions, is my girl Ebony. And Ebony came into one of the chat groups, I don't know what, and she said, hey, I really think our team needs to get better about telling our story. Like, we don't see enough of our stories just from our team, just for our team to be represented more. And what she means by that is, guys, all of us are sharing testimonies. And if you don't know, and if you don't post, I'm here to tell you, facts tell, but stories sell. Okay. It's the story of your journey, the story of other people's journeys that is going to appeal to people long term, because there will be one post that you make that tells a good story, that will absolutely resonate with one person on that particular day, and that will cause that person to want to join you. Okay. Now, it's the consistency of doing it, though. It's kind of like, I always use this term, familiarity breeds comfort. Okay. Familiarity breeds comfort. So I'm not automatically going to be drawn to spend, excuse me, guys, but I'm not going to be drawn to spend like $20 on a pair of underwear. And I still don't, y'all, just by the way. But Soma underwear is expensive, right? Have y'all ever heard of Soma? Soma underwear is expensive. The best ever. It's the vanishing edge is amazing. No panty line, no wedgies. But excuse me, guys, but this is a really good example though. But if you have never tried the underwear, if you've never used it, then you probably would be like, why would I do that? But if you saw a commercial, why do you think advertisement is such a huge industry, right? It's because people need to see something over and over and over and over again for them to become more comfortable with it. So it's the same thing that we do with our posting, right? We just don't want it to look like and be as obvious to look like an ad. So that's the reason why you tell stories more, because it resonates with people. It helps to also build like, know, and trust with people that you really don't even know. So one of the people on our team that I think is the best at this and has really grown and evolved over the years. I mean, I've literally seen, and almost everyone on our team has seen this transformation within Ebony and the way that she posts, and you physically see the growth, right? You've seen the growth. And if you've been with Ebony or been on our team long enough, or you've been friends with Ebony and now you finally joined her, you probably joined her because you noticed the growth yourself. And so I want our awesome leader to kind of lead us down this path of showing us how to really tell your story and to craft a message that will make an impact. So y'all know Ebony's a little bit extra too, right? So she's going to have a full-fledged PowerPoint. So let me go ahead and get my screen share together. Let me go ahead and get that going, because y'all know that ain't me. I ain't for nobody's PowerPoints. Okay, let me see.
Listen here, all this trash talking.
Oh, y'all about to see. It's about to be straight extra. Let's see here. Let's see, screen share.
Listen, there's no animation.
No,
Nothing. This is not extra.
No. Can y'all see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, let me try to do it where. Oh, let's see. All right. Well, I'll keep it like this. It'll make it easier. I'll keep it like this.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead, my dear.
Alrighty. So let me first also say one of the things that actually made me triplex this, because when Robin initially reached out, I was like, this is not a story that we have never told. But I was not interested. But there was a picture that Robin posted. She was I think on the beach with her boo and the girls, and she had on a bikini. Like straight up, I was like, okay, what is she doing? And I tell that story often because it was a picture. I mean, I couldn't go to the bathroom. I had all these issues, but it was her in her bikini. And I was sitting up here, this mama of 3 boys, and I'm looking like, okay, now what is she doing? Like straight up. So keep that in mind. And I am one where I study things that pique my interest. And so when you leave this whole presentation or whatever, think through, okay, what is it that piques my interest when I'm looking at social media? What is it that piques my interest? And you can recreate that in your own words. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So, Rob, we can go to the next slide. At the end of the day, though, you'll want to remember, and there are some folks on our team that are represented here. This doesn't necessarily represent everybody, but you have to remember that your story is absolutely your own, that it speaks volumes one way or another. And when I say it speaks volumes one way or another, the fact that you tell it speaks volumes, or that you don't also speaks volumes. And it absolutely is the evidence. You are the evidence. At the end of the day, there is someone out there that's just like you that is trying to figure out this thing called life. And if you don't open up your mouth and tell the world why you said yes to Plexus and how it's been a blessing to you, then they will not see it. Okay. So I referenced the scripture, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You are their evidence. So whether you're the single parent, you're the boy mom, you are the divorcee, you're the widow, whatever it is, you are the evidence that they need to see. So you have to remember that. Also from the slide, I wanted people to gather, like, every picture doesn't have to be perfect, but the picture does make a huge difference. You always want to keep in mind that, you know, if you have a significant other, put them up there. You may be mad at them that day, but put them up there because people like to see your boo. People like to see your kids. If you're single, that's perfectly fine too. Show people you live in your singledom, because sometimes married folks are living vicariously through you. But whatever it is, you want to make sure that people see different perspectives. Your face doesn't always have to be seen. And it doesn't have to be beautiful. You don't always have to have on makeup. It is, you know, there are some days when you know, that can be a benefit. But, you know, like that picture with Candy and her daughter, you know, that's just a side pic. It's not a head-on shot, but it's a very natural pic. And that's something else that you want to keep in mind as you're posting your pictures. Nothing has to be perfect, but it does need to be natural. It needs to be your own story. So we can go to the next slide. So in this whole, I'm thinking, Robin, if you hit, I'm trying to think, slideshow, I think maybe it'll, over there on the right, then it'll get rid of some of the wonky background stuff. Slideshow in the header. I'll just keep talking as you figure it out. But so for this, I wanted to make sure that you see a couple of different perspectives, because sometimes you can look and think, oh, well, I'm not the boy mom, so I can't share like Ebony shares about her boys, or, you know, or I'm not a diamond like Robin, so I can't share all the things about the business. Or, but there are definite perspectives where you can show from what you know. Okay, so we're going to talk about, or there are examples in here of aspects of the biz, wellness, and weight loss, ways to present that. Yeah, slideshow. Yep. And then play from current slide. Whoop. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so the biz, Angela didn't know I was going to feature her here, but one thing that well, this particular post is where she talked about her paying off her school loans. And what I love about this post is there's a picture here that specifically shows, you know, that she paid $13,000 towards her school loans, like in a lump sum. That speaks volumes when someone is thinking, okay, well, you know, are they really making good money? She also, so not only is there an extra pic, but it's a very simple pic. It's just a screenshot of a bill pay. There's not a whole bunch of extra stuff going on in the picture, not a lot of doodads and curly cues. It's just that raw image. And there's very short text here. There's not a book or a novel. There are some times where I will post a lengthy post, but there a lot of times we ain't got time for that. And people aren't going to read. At the end of the day, people are not going to read. That's why the picture is important. But she only had just a few characters there, and she added emojis and she has hashtags. And those are the things that, because people have such a short attention span, that are going to pull people in. Okay. Remember, the picture is very simple. There are no typos, guys. and I'm kind of anal about typos. Robin will tell you this. If y'all ever see a typo in something I put, message me and let me know, because I don't like typos. But like, proof what you type and just correct it. Be careful, and have just make sure there aren't typos and what you put out there. At the end of the day, though, what's most important is that you want to make sure that it conveys how it feels to work for yourself. Even if you are a silver ambassador making $500 a month, um, $500 is huge for the average person, especially when people are living paycheck to paycheck. There are people making six figures living paycheck to paycheck. And so when you can, simply say, that you paid your car note, or that you paid this for your tires in cash, whatever it is, you put that out there and just express how it feels to work for yourself. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that the picture just looks like a normal snapshot in your life, in the life of Felicia Adams, in the life of Jacqueline McCrae. So the other picture is just simply someone saying that she could pay for her laptop. She was working now from her laptop. And that's it. She's like, "Hi, my name is Jordan. I work from my phone, literally, and I haven't ever owned this. And now I do." So she's not talking about, paying off her school loans in one final swoop. She's just talking about being able to get something that she liked, and maybe she delayed it and now she can own it. So that's what I love about both of these. It's just two different extremes of, rolling in the dough or simply just checking a box and how it feels. And the picture that she posted is not like, it's just a natural picture. You don't have to feel like it's got to be a posed picture. It's just a natural picture of her. And so I love that. We can go on to the next slide.
Yeah, I want to add something
Oh,
here.
sure. Go ahead.
So I also want to make sure, because we have probably over 80 people on the call. So some of you are probably fairly new to this or just new to posting. Know that from a compliance standpoint, that the reason why we're talking about the business post and Ebony's using examples of what you could use or what you can spend your Plexus money on is because we are not allowed to post how much we make. Okay, so you shouldn't post your screenshot of your paycheck and your, what gets in your pay portal or whatever. You're not supposed to do that, but you can absolutely say, this paid for this. Okay. And I love that Ebony showed two different examples, because I think a lot of times we are under the assumption that unless I'm, making six figures or making $40,000 a year with Plexus or some crazy amount, that we don't have wins to celebrate. And it's the exact opposite. I find that you become more polarizing when you get to my level, because people then begin to think, I can never do what she does. Like they can't even see themselves in the place that I'm in. Whereas the average person, they can see themselves making an extra $300 to $500 a month, and an extra $300 to $500 a month in many cases would prevent people from falling into bankruptcy, filing Chapter 7. I mean, there's so many different things that just having a little bit more margin in your budget frees people of. And so don't be afraid, or don't feel like, oh, I'm not making that much. So what, what I'm going to talk about? Celebrate all of those things. Even if it's, oh my gosh, I was able to take my family out to dinner, 3 extra times this month that I normally wouldn't. It's such a blessing. I don't have to go into debt, doing small things for my family. You could just say that honestly with a picture of your family and be done. And the other point I want to make that Ebony talked about is there are some times that you do want to tell a story, and she'll post some things. I think the next slide will be something that Ebony wrote, and it was longer. It's okay to do that, but just know you have to have a cadence with your post. If every single post that you do every day is a novel, you will wear people out. Okay. It's not until you probably grow in a very high level of influence where people really are following you, like almost like you're becoming a little bit of an influencer, that people will want to read your long post every single day. But until you get to that place, just be real mindful that people are super ADD and they're not going to read those longer posts every single, if that's all you do. So try to balance it out with some humor, some empowerment, some encouraging, some motivating, all of that. but all of them don't need to be long, but all of them don't need to be one-liners either. Okay, you got to go deeper sometimes too in order to tell the full story. So let me go.
Awesome. So we talked about the business and how to share that. I wanted to speak to some examples for wellness. So when I actually started Plexus, I didn't have a ton of weight to lose. And to be honest, in my pictures, I don't really think that you see a lot of a difference for my weight management. And so sometimes, just to be honest, I used to be kind of timid about how I could share. I felt like I couldn't find my niche because my pictures weren't really showing a major weight transformation. I had other transformations, but they were all internal. And I felt like, okay, pictures don't really show that. And so it's been challenging for me. So the next two slides really kind of speak to different ways that you can post about wellness, or you can share about wellness, even if you don't necessarily have a difference in pictures and weight. So this is a post that I did. This was a recent post actually, where and this was actually, I did take a nugget from one of the Diamond ambassadors that shared on the Virtual Express from that Saturday. And she talked about how you should try to have the product, if you are showcasing the product, to have your face in the picture. And honestly, guys, sometimes I'll take 20 different pictures. This probably sounds crazy. I will take 20 different pictures, different angles, until I figure out, okay, yep, I like my hand here, or I like the product here. Oh, let me turn it around so you can really see the product. And then I'll delete the stuff that I don't like. But just know, you may take, just like a photographer, they take a gazillion pictures, and then before one actually makes the edit. So keep that in mind. This picture also has a preset or different tone to the picture as well. And so that's something else that you can do to kind of make your pictures more appealing. But a couple of things that I wanted to highlight in this post. Now, when you are going to share a little bit lengthier of a post, try to begin with the middle in mind. A lot of times you hear begin with the end in mind, but I heard this tip a while back, and I always think through this. If I'm typing anything lengthy, sometimes someone might say, well, first I did this, or way back when, this is how life was, or whatever. But at the end of the day, really, when you think about, if you scroll through Facebook right now, there's only like the first 3 lines that people are going to see. And so if your verbiage is like, in 2015, I da-da-da-da, a lot of times that's not what's going to get people's attention. And so the first couple of lines are going to be what you want to put out there to actually catch someone's attention. This post isn't, the perfect example of that, but I just want to always make sure you kind of start at the middle of your story, and then you can go back to, painting the picture. And so let's see. And I'll give this as a perfect example. I just couldn't remember where my post was. There was a post a while back where Robin was like, y'all that read the book, for those of us who read The Circle Maker, and we had to make a list of 100, or she challenged us to make a list of 100, I actually decided to post about it. And I was basically trying to encourage my audience, hey, have you dreamt? Have you stopped dreaming? Do you have a list of 100 things you'd like to do? Anyway, I was trying to put out there that Robin had encouraged this, that I have a friend that really encourages, you to, do all these things, these wonderful things, and to celebrate her friendship. So I actually put a picture of Robin and I in the post, but the very first line was 100. It's the 100th thing on my list. And it said 100 to go skinny dipping with my husband, or something like that. And that was intentional because I wanted people to see, wait, Ebony trying to go, this preacher wife talking about going skinny dipping with her boo, or whatever. But that was intentional because I was like, well, people see pictures of me and Robin all the time. But if I put something at the beginning saying, wait, what is she talking about? Skinny dipping, then that'll get people to read. So that's an example of me saying, start with the end or the middle in mind. Okay. But as far as this post, I did try to make sure that I took an eye-catching picture, and I included product. The this verbiage is broken in kind of sections. So it's not long text. Whenever you can bullet something, always bullet. If you're ever, just making a list of your wins with Plexus, any kind of list, always bullet it because it just makes it easier to read. Emojis always break up the text, and hashtags always stand out when people are reading. Again, no typos. Again, I was sitting here just really trying to make sure that I showed people how I feel about, loving this, these products, and how I love, that I'm changing the game for my community. And so I just wanted to put that out there. And a lot of times, because I was such a skeptic, I try to speak to some of that skepticism in my posts. And so at the end, I said, no gimmicks. I love that part. Scientifically proven, I geek out over this. Lasting results. All of those things that were things that I was skeptical about. And I know that my circle is a circle of skeptics. And so I try to sometimes put that in there so that my circle at least knows, okay. And then I often will end in a question. Now, at the end of the day, people, I've been in this for 5.5 years. Some people will just continue to scroll, but some of the new people that I'm engaging with or trying to engage with, if they get to the end of this, that question in my mind will either make people think, and they may not ever respond, but it may make them think. And then sometimes if I do put a question in, somebody actually may answer the question, which always heightens the engagement of the post. Every time someone comments on your post from a Facebook analytics thing, that's a win. And so you always, in everything, whether you're talking to somebody in Messenger, I always try to train my team as well to keep this in mind, always end in a question, because one question, not questions throughout all of the verbiage, just one is going to make people pause and think and want to answer that one question. Robin, did you want to say anything about this?
Yeah. So you already know. So I want to go back to the point that she was making as far as she took a lot of pictures to get that one. Guys, that is normal. Like I do that for everything. And so don't think that you can just take one photo. It's probably not going to be the way that you want it to look, So do I want you to spend 30 minutes taking a picture? Absolutely not. So do not hear me say that. That is not what I'm saying. That's not what Ebony's saying. But we are saying that in order to capture really good images, you probably will have to bracket a couple. That's what photographers use the term bracket. You do have to bracket and take more than one photo and then toss out the ones you don't want. Also, presets might be a little bit advanced for some people. You have to go into buy presets from Etsy, and there's different apps and whatever, and they have photo editing apps. But just on your regular iPhone or Android, you can edit photos. You can make it more vivid. You can add more light. You can take the shadows away. So just get in the habit. You don't have to do that every time on every picture, but when you're trying to really make an impact, those images are absolutely powerful, and they matter. So anyway, we'll go to the next one.
And one quick thing, I know I say this a lot about pictures. Y'all, you have to face the sun. Whenever you're taking a picture, always face the light. So and for that specific picture, my phone was propped up on my kitchen windowsill, and it was a Saturday morning picture. Okay, so the lighting was good that day. And if you're not sure, and if you got a teenager, they know where to find the light. Okay. So just find the light if you're ever wondering, and you always can take from different angles, but the lighting is very key. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All of my pictures are from the windowsill of my office. Every single one. I just prop it on the windowsill. So that's a very good tip.
Let's see. Okay. This is another one about wellness. Yeah. So this one, you have someone showing a difference in their skin. They have dates here. And I'm actually talking about the African-American lady that's first, and I'll talk about the other picture in a second. But no, in the verbiage, again, you've got text here that's broken up, no typos, there are emojis, hashtags, all of that's the same. And then she's talking about oh no, I'm sorry. The other thing that I want to highlight though, when you're doing a before and a during picture, is to try to keep the pictures as much as similar as possible. So same angles, same clothing, same lighting, because you're going to have a skeptic out there like me that analyzes those pictures to the nth degree. And it's like, oh, well, that just like looks like that because the angle is different. Or, oh, it looks like she edited that. Like, I'm, the most skeptic of them all. And so just to further validate the picture that you're taking, you always want to make sure, from the lighting to the angles to the attire to the um like, don't put makeup on if you're taking a Joy-On picture and just say, oh well, I just got on a little foundation. Nah, boo boo, that is not. And yeah, sorry, I'm on my soapbox. But yeah, just keep that in mind. The bottom picture I wanted to highlight because she is talking about our protein shakes. And she says, homemade protein ice cream. You guys, we need to talk. It's very simple, very simple. And it's just another product. Because a lot of times, we'll think, oh, well, let me put a picture of my pink drink. Let me put a picture of Active. Y'all, we got other products that we can always showcase. And, when you are sharing things, just keep in mind, what was I gonna say? Think about, like, if you buy some jeans, you're gonna show people, oh, y'all, look at how these jeans fit. You're not gonna talk about, oh, these jeans were made with acrylic or denim and all the things. You're just gonna talk about how they fit on you, just like Robin was talking about no panty lines with Soma. And so those kinds of things you want to keep and think like, okay, how would I share anything else that I love and share it like that? Okay, that was all I wanted to share about this slide. Take it away, Robin.
Okay. The only thing I want to share on this slide is I love that Ebony said try to make your before and afters as similar as possible. This one is you can see the difference in this girl, the one at the top. You can see the difference in her skin clearly. If I were to have done that, I probably would have done the same angle, like she said. I would not have been smiling. I would have had my eyes closed. I would have made it a lot more similar. So this isn't a bad before and after. It's good because you can tell the difference in her skin for sure. But I would try to make it, just like Ebony said, for all the skeptics out there, as similar as possible. And particularly in your before and afters for weight loss, like wearing baggy jeans in one and then wearing tight fitting pants in the next one. Try to wear the same outfit, try to do the same angle. And especially if you're trying to college and enjoy them, do side photos, do close-up photos, because for some people you may not be able to see a huge difference, but if you take a close-up maybe of your eyes and around your eye area where you see less wrinkles, those are different things that are noticeable if you just take pictures at different angles. So all right, next slide. It takes a minute to advance, so.
Okay, no worries. So the next one, I believe, is yes, it's a weight loss, a weight management one. And I wanted to make sure that I highlighted this one. Again, notice that the text is broken up. It's a very eye-catching picture. But a couple of things to note with the picture. It's very similar. She's posed very, the same. The attire is very similar. She has a preset on in this, the more current picture. So the lighting is different, but you can easily see, because there are so many similarities, you can easily see, oh my goodness, there's a definite difference in her weight on this picture. And so I love that. It's just very easy to see. The verbiage makes you think. I personally do like repetitive sentences sometimes, like just looking at the verbiage. She talks about, the 40-pound weight loss may be what draws you in, but that's not why you stay. Like, the verbiage is something that makes you think, oh, snap. Okay, well, let me read this some more. Again, the first couple of lines are what pull you in. Same thing about the sections, emojis, and hashtags, no typos. And the verbiage is talking about why you'll love her supplements, why it's not all about weight loss. Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to share specifically about weight loss, sometimes people hear, if you're new to this journey and if you have not taken a picture, or if you're nervous about, I don't want to put my picture out there, let me tell you, at the end of the day, when you are flyer than you are, like just as fly on the outside as you are on the inside, you're not going to care about what you look like 40 pounds heavier. So take the picture, like eat the cake, Annie Mae. Just take the picture because 6 months from now, you will see a difference and you will hate that you didn't take the picture when you first started this journey. And it is incredibly important to share whatever progress you can find along the way. Because, like for me, I don't have a lot, and this is one of the reasons why I raised this question or asked Robin about this. I don't have weight management pictures for me, but there are people in my circle that will benefit or are really focused, hyper focused on weight management. And if no one from our team is sharing their wins on weight management, I can't share your story with someone in my circle that says, this is what they're looking at. The people in my circle are like, oh, well, Ebony didn't need to lose weight. I don't see anything in her store, in her profile or whatever, in her stories that show that Plexus is about weight. And so for that reason, and I'm just hyper focusing on weight, but it's all the things, whether it's a change in your skincare, a change in your hair length, hair growth, your nails, all the things, or just you feeling more confident and that radiating in your pictures. All of those things, if nobody ever shares, then I can't share your wins for my circle. And so you want to make sure that you're putting that content out there, because the more we put that out there, just like at the top of the call, Robin was, giving kudos to Lakeisha and Charmin, and how our team was represented on that call. I want to be able to share our team in my stories, and it's not just me. I want to share the wins for my team. And so from our Made for More team. And so just keep that in mind as you're sharing. Don't look at it like, well, I don't really want to put it out there for the world to see. The world needs to see your testimony. The world will grow because of your testimony, because of your wins and you putting yourself out there. I think that's all I had for this slide, Robin.
Okay. The other thing I want to point out too is that, we do these Thursday calls, besides the work from home workshop at the front of the month, all the other calls on Thursdays are testimonial calls. And we literally hear these mind-blowing testimonies, but then they're not in writing. You know what I mean? So literally take your testimony, if you've ever shared on one of the Thursday calls, and even if you haven't yet, you will soon, take that testimony that you would verbally speak out loud and just put it in writing. And if you are wondering, is it too long? Is it too lengthy? I need help. Ask your upline to help you, right? But we're going to have a challenge at the end of this call in just a few minutes, because I really want to get as many that we can from our team. We can have like a whole library in one of the albums in Leading with Excellence. But I'll let Ebony finish this out.
Okay, so just a few takeaways from all of this. Be natural. Again, there are days where makeup is going to be great for a picture, and then there are days where you don't have to do that, but be natural. You don't have to edit your pictures with a whole lot of extra graphics, because at the end of the day, sometimes when you put a lot of things on a picture, it can look salesy. And we are in the business of just sharing. And so you want your picture to look as natural as possible. No extra doodads, no extra emojis or things added to that. Just as natural as possible, because that is where it will shine through. You will shine through the most when you're most natural in your pictures. Be consistent with your posting. Robin already shared about that. Check your lighting, and I put there face the sun. Keep it very simple. No one can tell your story better than you. And just think through I know when I first started sharing, I was like, I'm not about to be sharing play-by-plays of what's going on in my life every day. Like, people don't need to know all that. It doesn't take all that. That's kind of how I felt just in general about sharing on social media. But again, there are people, like, I know I'm sitting up here as an engineer working in corporate America. There are people I know that are in corporate America like me, trying to figure out, does it really, can I do something different? Can it be different? So it's up to me to show, yes, it absolutely can be different. You can work in corporate America and work a side gig and, exceed your income. You can do that. But if I don't step up and show people that, how are they going to know? So someone is waiting on you to tell your story. And lastly, be transparent and be a light. So one other thing is you want to always make sure that you're not negative in what you're sharing in your stories. There's a lot of different ways you can take a negative spin on things. Don't. Okay, choose to sort, to seek the positive. Look at the positive aspect, because especially right now in 2020, there's a lot of doom and gloom. And if there's any way that you can be a light to your circle, that is going to have people coming back to you like, dang, why is she so doggone happy? Like, what is she doing that's got her all chipper, right? Like Marquita said, you are your brand. You absolutely are. And I get the most feedback every time I'm transparent. Okay. I put a post out there about having to borrow money from our son's piggy banks. And I didn't really initially, I wasn't going to share it, but I remember thinking, there's somebody else that's doing the same doggone thing. And if I don't tell that I'm starting to forget what it was like, then people won't see that, oh, there's hope in what this is that Ebony is sharing. And so be transparent. You are the hope that people are looking for. You are the evidence. I cannot stress that enough. So the more transparent you are, the more of a light you will shine. So just keep that in mind as you're sharing your story. That's all I got, Robin. You're muted, Robin.
Sorry. Okay. I told y'all that it was going to be good, and that Ebony is super extra, and she was going to have all the bells and whistles in this PowerPoint, and she absolutely did. So thank you, Ebony, for always stepping up to the plate anytime I ask you to. It means so much to our team, and it really means so much to Plexus. Like, you are just a bright light. So thank you, Ebony. I want to challenge us all. We have 1 week. I'm going to give you 1 week. It is a challenge, and I am going to put anyone in this challenge that participates and posts and crafts their story in a contest. And you actually can create multiple stories, okay? Because some of us we have a business story. We have a I feel more confident story. I have a migraine win story. I mean, we have lots of stories to share. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a graphic in the Leading with Excellence page, and that will be the post that you are going to comment with your testimony, whatever that is, and a beautiful image that will go with it. Okay. Doesn't have to be weight loss, doesn't even have to be health and wellness. It could be something about any of the other things that we talked about tonight. Okay. And those people that do that by Tuesday at 10:59 p.m. Central will go into a drawing for a prize. Depending on how much participation we have, I may do multiple prizes, but just know that we want to really create a library. We want a library of testimonies. And so I will collect those, or myself and Ebony or whoever, we will collect those testimonies, and we'll end up putting them in an album in Leading with Excellence page. So let's flood our timeline with our own stories. Okay. So thank you, Ebony, again for your time tonight and your expertise. We appreciate you so much. And I do want to open it up, since we have a few more minutes before we end. We normally end around 8:50. Does anybody have any questions about posting, about anything? Now's your opportunity. So unmute yourself if you have any questions, and hopefully Ebony and I can answer them. Anybody?
I have one.
Hey, Brittany.
Hi. How y'all doing tonight? So I was brainstorming, and I wanted to do like an introduction to gut health on my timeline. So I just quickly Googled 7 facts. So to keep it short, that way I could do like one a day. And I was thinking of, my brain was going, okay, I could do what is it a symptom of good health, and then what helps with that symptom for, like each day. And I was just kind of wondering if I should do it just basically in a live or in a post, because live sometimes get away from me because of my schedule. I'm still in the military, so it gets a little, time constraints. But I was wondering about the best way to go about that to get as much engagement as possible.
It's a good question, Brittany. I will say that I feel like you're going to get a lot more engagement in a live. The reason why I say that is because people are nosy. Bottom line, people are nosy. They're voyeurs, And if you don't normally, do you normally do lives, Brittany? No? Okay. So then they're really going to be nosy. Okay. So if you don't normally do lives and you go live, people are going to listen to you. They're going to hop on. Now, you don't want to make it super long because people are extremely ADD and they are not going to listen to your 7 tips for 20 minutes. Like or 7 symptoms or whatever. They're not going to do that. They're just not. They're going to be, I don't know what they're actually talking about. So you want to make it short and sweet, but I really do think a live would make a better impact. And I'm glad you brought that up, Brittany, because we were just talking about telling your story in a post today. But it's a really good point that you make because we never even delved into because this really wasn't supposed to be a social media training. That's really not what this was. It was really about crafting your story. But to go just a little bit deeper into social media, if you're not in your stories, you are not working your business. I mean, honestly, I get most of my leads from my stories. Your stories are a sneak peek. So doing that in your stories, Brittany, probably would be a good idea. You could go do videos in your stories, right? And you could do a post with a really, you could do the 7 facts. I don't know that I would span it. You could span it over 7 days, but if it's short enough to do just the 7 facts or 7 symptoms, you could do the post, do a nice selfie with it, and then go into your stories and expound. Because in my mind, the stories is where you give a little bit more of a sneak peek and more details on things. And the post is more like a taste, right? Sometimes your stories are completely just totally different from your post, and that's fine too. But I would say either go live on Facebook or do it in your stories and then do a post that coincides with that. Do you have anything you want to say about that, Ebony?
No, that's good. What you said is good.
Okay. I hope that helps, Brittany. Anybody else have a question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome, dear. Anybody else have a question? Okay.
Would you go over what you said again about presets? What's a preset?
So it's I know, Ryan, I know either. I really don't use presets, y'all. Like I have way too much going on to be going into what do you call it? Lightroom, I don't have time for all that. Okay. So that's the reason why I wanted to tell you, you can create beautiful images without presets, but a preset is like, you know how when you look on Instagram, Kelly, and sometimes, do you ever look on Instagram, Kelly? Okay. When you look on Instagram, sometimes when you go look at people that have a huge following or people that you're just Instagrammers, okay, that's not me. They will have like one cohesive look in all their photos. And you look at their photos and you're like, everybody's orange. Like everybody's orange every day. Like they look the same, even though the lighting's different where but everybody's orange or everybody's, has a purple hue or something, right? Well, you can get these presets from Etsy. You can buy them on Etsy. You can probably buy them other places. The ones I've bought are from Etsy. Some presets are free, but most of them cost a few dollars, and they're worth it if you want to take the time to use the preset on every single one of your photos. Because essentially, the way that I know to use the presets, and maybe y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that I know to use the presets, which is why I don't use them all the time, is you have to have like Adobe Photoshop, like Lightroom, to use the preset, and it's too much for me personally. I just have too much going on. So knowing you, Kelly, is too much too. You already take beautiful photos. What I would do, the only thing I would do for a lot of you that are like, presets, that's a little too advanced for me, just start editing your photos. Your phones have photo editing features. So just adding more light, taking away the shadows, adding some highlights, cropping your photo. That's a big one, guys. Cropping your photo, making sure that your backdrop doesn't have a whole bunch of junk in the background, so cropping it to get all the excess out of the way, taking pictures that are closer to you, like truly selfies, right? Those things is what's going to make an impact. Okay. So, yeah, but you already take really good photos, Kelly. So you're good to go, babe. And look here, that Judge Judy photo, she got about 800-900 likes. I'm like, oh my gosh, this child here. I mean, you did. She looked like she should be on a TV show. It's crazy. It's crazy town. Beautiful. One more question, and then we'll go.
Hey, this is Faynette. I had a question.
Hey.
Hey, so I'm just curious, how long does the story have to be? So if you have a short story with bullet points that's eye-catching, do you think the stories have to be really long or just enough to capture your audience?
Yeah, it honestly depends, Zainat, on what you're trying to tell. I mean, sometimes stories do have to be long because you just have a lot on your mind. You have a lot that you want to say to convey the message. Um, but a lot of times they don't have to be long and drawn out. Okay. And I really think what Ebony said is best. If it is going to be a long post, just make sure you're breaking it up with breaking up the paragraphs, adding emojis, and making sure that you're adding hashtags, because that is what's going to draw people in to continue reading. Because if they just see one long paragraph, it looks like one big run on sentence, girl, they will scroll past. They are not reading that. They're just not. There's just no way. So just making sure that you do those things that Ebony talked about, but honestly, it depends on the story you're trying to tell. But also when you're a writer, so just be thinking about, is it necessary? Is this part necessary? Sometimes we'll try to tell a story and we say a lot of things that just aren't necessary. Like, is that going to change the story? No. So do I need to add all these specific details? Because we're not writing a book. It's still a post. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just keeping that in mind.
Yeah.
Does that help, Anetta?
Yes, that makes sense. I know in writing, like when we publish books, we always tell authors to make sure you have white lines, and white lines is totally different from the plexus thing. But white lines mean is that when you read when you open that page to a book, they should see some white lines because they're not going to read just a page that has a whole bunch of words because there's no separation. Yes, that makes sense.
It's the same exact thing. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Thank you,
congratulations.
dear.
Congratulations,
Thank
Miss Ruby. We're
Thank
so
you.
excited.
Thank you.
So excited for it. And then a
Yay,
birthday.
baby girl.
She went Ruby, then celebrated a birthday next day. Love you, girl. Super proud of you. All right, guys, that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much, Ebony, for doing this amazing training for us. More social media to come, but just wanted to put that out there. Tuesday's the deadline for you to put your stories. I'll post that tonight. So y'all have a good one and see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Robin.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Ebony.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Robin.
Robin.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Great
Yeah.
job.